Bob's come all the way from Middlesbrough, which is, as we all know, the centre of the universe. We're from the same place. And Bob's got a fantastic title, Yoik. Does anybody know what yoiking is? It's a shamanic Finnish tradition from herding caribou of invoking not the object but the spirit of the object. And there's lots of stuff here about myth and story and ritual, really rich, deep layers, and a fantastic performer. So glad you've made it. Welcome, Bob Beagrie.
Thank you. I thought I wasn't going to make it when I hit the match day traffic around Manchester. Okay, I'll read a few poems. This is called The Linesman. This morning's so primed for living or dying, you must remember to wear your Superman top under your shirt, for you met last night a man named Laurie, the brother of a friend's ex-girlfriend, who was once a driver in the army and always went on the sick rather than go to war with the nifty trick of popping his hip joint out of its socket. So his mates come back damaged, not fit for anything anymore, so when he left, he became a linesman climbing pylons. Been electrocuted dozens of times. As long as you're not grounded, you can handle it. It's the best job in the world up there in the Outer Hebrides, in France, on the west coast of Ireland, where on a clear day you can almost spot America, and all hangovers are shed on the climb, and the money's great, and there's travel, good crack, and lots of fine women, and I've fallen dozens of times in the past. Mostly I bounced. But last time I landed on concrete and broke both my legs. Doctors said I'd never walk again. But 18 months later, I'm walking fine. I could have sued, but I'd never work again. I've tortured myself in the gym and snapped a steel pin in one leg, but 18 months later, I'm walking fine. I'm waiting for the doctors to sign a form that says I can get back to work, back up there, because it's the best job there is among the lines. And when you've climbed through the frosty web to see the sunrise, you're the king of the world. Cheers. I was the writer in residence on the Hartlepool headland for 100 days a few years ago, and it's a fascinating little place. It was goes back to the 6th century. St Hilda established the abbey there after Lindisfarne was established and before she was granted land at Whitby by King Oswy of Northumbria. So it's a fascinating little place, and it used to be called Herritu. And when I went for the interview there, I had a few mishaps, but I managed to get the job. But after the interview, I went for a little wander around, and I was standing at the sea wall, and this little bloke came riding along on his bike, and propped his bike up, and went down onto the sands and started dusting the sands. And I was thinking, what's he doing? Why is he doing that? And what kind of a place is this? So I decided he was William Blake, and I wrote a poem for him, which is... It's called Ritual. Old Blakey looks like he's lived in Herritu forever, as he squats on fish sands at the foot of the steps in bicycle clips and Lieutenant Columbo's Mac. His Iron Age bike leans against the South Sea wall. He takes out a powder blue dustpan and brush, sets to dusting the beach into a little carrier bag, leaves a neat 2-foot square of flattened beige with bristled plough lines like a garden in Kyoto. Climbs up the steps with his bag quarter full, mounts the bike and pedals past the pothouse to sit at home and sift for the tide's favourite grain, the beautiful one, the one with the world in. Thank you. This one's called Pililaloo, which is a Gaelic lament. And I wrote this poem after... I love the west coast of Scotland, and we often go there. One time I visited this place called Dunad, which was the capital of Dalriada, which was the first... where the Gaelic kings were crowned, and it's on this hill, and there's... It's a ruin, but it's much older than like Norman ruins. It goes back to about the 6th century. And the stone of Scoin, the stone of destiny, was supposedly there. And when the kings were crowned, it was rum and had holes in it, so it acted like a bell. And it supposedly had a human voice. And the valley all around is lit with cairns and fairy mounds and stone circles that go back like 5,000–6,000 years. So it's a really magical place. And Pillililu is a Gaelic lament. It's based on the cry of the redshank. That's all I need to say about it, really. Start off with a little epigram from Hugh McDermott's Ireland funeral. Every force evolves a form. While this thing lasted, it was pure and very strong. Such a ruin emanates something. Sends my nerve ends a tingle. High above the now tended plain and the peat bog of Moynmore, Gaelic kings were crowned. The stone sang its human cry through this valley of ghosts, over cairns, circles, fairy mounds, out to the shrouded islands. Grass grows over the abandoned fort, the forgotten forge, stables, well, the rough royal chambers, softening edges to rolling suggestions. You say, this place is charged. Brings you close to tears, while my body expands, my skin a sail, my spine a mast, my rib cage a coracle frame, navigating a winding stretch of river to the sounds of the eternal sea. The split stone of Dunad throne sings, Pillililu, Pillililu, Pillililu. As lives and cultures come and go like tides. We both know we've been here before, as fish, fox, red deer, wild boar, and one day we'll come again, each of us bearing a different name. A lot of this book is based on my trips to Finland. I've been involved in a translation and writing exchange with some other poets from the northeast and 6 poets from Finland, and we've been going back and forth and translating each other's work and producing some bilingual pamphlets and bilingual anthologies and doing like joint performances in both countries. And it's been fascinating. So quite a bit of this book is about travels in Finland. This is the first time that I went, the first morning. It's called Translation. With a taste of Baltic salt on the lips, after barbecue and beers in the woods, we sit and share poetry around the table, try our hands at carrying over meaning. Much later, on the beach, with plastic cups of bourbon, we share smokes, watch the waves. You should come in winter, the Finns tell us. Each year, Calais swims in the frozen sea. Ville too, then sauna, then back out to sit in the snow. Feel your heartbeat slow right down, feel your energy levels fall. It's better than drugs, sex and rock and roll. These maniacs have about 30 names for snow, and Ensalumi is my favourite, the winter's first attempts at a tentative illumination.